So my name's Rob, I'm the traveling PA, and I'm in Antarctica. So I started my journey about a week ago from New York City to Buenos Aires to Ushuaia, stayed in Ushuaia for a couple days, and then on Thursday, December 9th, embarked on the journey to Antarctica. So we were at sea for about 2.5 days. Yesterday, December 12th, in the morning or afternoon, mind you, we were able to see Antarctica in the distance, which was really cool. And then we just started making our way in. We ended up getting, I would say, a hybrid Drake lake. So it was nothing like a Drake shake. We did have some rocking and rolling, but it was mild. Everyone had their motion sickness medication. So we made it last night, and we have activities going on for the next several days. The boat life is great. So you're served 3 meals a day, a breakfast buffet, lunch buffet, and then a plated dinner, food's been phenomenal. And then there are a bunch of lectures that tend to go on. So we've been a penguin lecture. There's a lot of safety briefings for all the activities that we're doing. And so we have debriefs in the evening where we go over the next day's activities, the weather, things like that. But overall, this is a great ship, great company, and I'm having an awesome experience. So can't wait for the rest of this trip. So we just got finished coming back from mountaineering. We actually climbed up the mountain right behind me. So we kind of docked right down there, made our way over, all the way around, and then up to the peak. And this is Zanko Island. We were out there for like 3-4 hours. It was a pretty cool hike. And right on land, we were able to see the Gen 2 penguins. And we were actually able to see the penguin highways, which go up to their colony. And when we reached the summit of that mountain, we were actually able to see the colony, which was super cool. Now everyone's back on the boat. And then after that, we're gonna have lunch and then head to another area. And in the afternoon, I'll be getting on a Zodiac, kind of riding around for a little bit. And then we make a land stop and we can get out, which is pretty cool. So there's 3 main activities that they do, which are mountaineering, camping, and kayaking. So you schedule those throughout the week. And then every day there are 2 outings, whether you're doing an activity or not. And that would be on the Zodiac through the water and then on land. And then if you're not doing that, it's supplemented with an activity. But overall, it's really cool, and I can't wait for the rest of this trip. So I'm currently on the Orkney Islands, seeing the Gen 2 penguins and the chinstrap penguins, which is pretty cool. But let's check this place out.
Arrive, please continue to stay seated. Chris will give you a briefing, and you'll be able to go on to land.
Good morning from day 5 on this Antarctic journey. And we camped overnight. So we went camping overnight, and which was crazy because we basically were given a shovel. We had to dig out a spot for each person in the snow and build an ice wall. And then you got into you got your sleeping bag. You had to put your sleeping bag into a waterproof bag. There were mats on the ground, and you actually use your muck boots as a pillow underneath everything. And then you actually have to take all your outer layers off. You only have your thermal layers underneath, and when you get into the sleeping bag, but it was very warm. And we were out there probably for about 4 or 5 hours, and they brought us back to the boat.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. The time is 8 o'clock, and that means in 15 minutes we will be ready for red and green to proceed to the joining boarding area on deck 3. So red and green in 15 minutes, please be on deck 3. Yellow and blue, same as yesterday. Please wait until your color groups have been cold. So red and green, please go to deck 3 in 15 minutes. Yellow and blue, wait for an announcement. Thank you.
So we get these nice announcements overhead that kind of give us an idea of what's going on. We get wake-up calls that go through the itinerary, which is great. So came back, got to the boat around 4:45 this morning, slept a little bit, just had breakfast, and then going to head out for a Zodiac cruise and exploring some land. We'll come back for lunch and then do the same thing in the afternoon. in a different area of Antarctica. So yesterday was a very packed day, so excited for some downtime at some point today. Good afternoon. So we officially made it to Horny Harbor, which looks incredible. I don't think video will do this justice at all. So the plan for today is to get on a Zodiac, go around the water for a little bit, and then make a land stop to see some penguins. I think we are going, if I'm correct, somewhere out here. But it might be on the other side as well. Earlier this morning, we all came back from camping, and then I took a nap for about 2 hours. I then basically went out to the same camping spot, but we were able to go to the top, to the peak of that area that we were at, which had great views of the bay. Which was cool about that spot is that wildlife generally doesn't exist there, so you're able to put your belongings down and sit in the snow and stuff. So a few of us rolled down the slope, took some photos, and then we got on the Zodiac and went around the bay, and we were actually able to get pretty close to some of the whales, and just kind of like navigate through the glacial water, which was pretty cool. So we're gonna head out now, and then originally on the plans was a polar plunge for later today, but just due to scheduling and stuff, they're gonna move it to later on in the week. So Antarctica Day 5, let's go. From day 6 in Antarctica. Today we have a pretty exciting day. We woke up going through the Le Maire channel, which was incredible views. Getting to Plan Bay, where I'll be going kayaking this morning, come back for lunch, and then we'll move to a different area where we'll have a landing and a Zodiac ride before coming back for a debrief and dinner. So excited for today and can't wait to kayak. So yeah, Antarctica Day 6, let's go. feeling a little bit tired this morning, but we're gonna keep going. Yesterday was an awesome day. We started the day making our way through the Lemaire Channel, which was incredible. It's one of the most scenic parts of Antarctica. And then a bunch of us went kayaking in Planu Bay, which the weather was incredible. And so it's considered to be an iceberg graveyard. So we were able to kind of weave around the icebergs, which was cool. Came back to the ship for lunch and then made our way to our next point, which was Peterson Island. There we saw a bunch of Adelaide and Gentoo penguins and a bunch of scenic sites, as well as a makeshift research station, which was cool. We then did a Zodiac cruise through the area where we saw tons of wildlife. We saw a leopard seal, which actually ended up making its way near our Zodiac and was kind of playing in between the Zodiacs, assessing the scene. We saw a crab eater seal, Weddell seal, and then the humpback whale. We then made our way back to the ship, had some downtime, our mandatory briefing, and then a buffet dinner, and I ended the night with a game night. This morning we are in Jugla Point, which is near Port Lockroy, and Port Lockroy is actually closed, so we're not going to be able to go on land today, but we will Zodiac cruise around the area. It's actually where the Antarctic Post Office is, which is pretty cool. After that, the plan is to come back to the ship, have lunch, and then make our way to Des Moines Point, where there is a planned Zodiac ride, and we may do a landing, but it's dependent on weather. If we can't do a landing, then they have some lectures for us. And then in the evening after our mandatory briefing, they're gonna have an Antarctic barbecue outside. So Antarctica Day 7, let's go. Officially a little bit over halfway through the trip. Yesterday was an awesome day. We started the morning at Jugla Point, where Port Lockroy is, or Jugla Bay, where Port Lockroy is. And that's actually where the southernmost post office is, so we got to check that out and do a Zodiac cruise. Saw a little bit of wildlife, but not much. We came back to the boat for lunch, and then we moved to our next point, which was Des Moines Point. And where actually the Des Moines hut is, which was a transit hut for planes that would come in. And now it's a historic landmark and an emergency shelter, so it's really cool to see it. It's essentially trapped in time. Afterwards, everyone came back to the boat around 5:30, had our mandatory evening briefing, and then the crew threw an Antarctic barbecue on the deck, which was really cool. There was great barbecue, music, it was a good time. Today, we just got to our next stop, which is Wayne Harbor, and there's actually a shipwreck that we're going to check out via Zodiac cruise. Spend some time out here, and then move to our next point, which is Portal Point. And the cool part about Portal Point is that apparently the landing's incredible, and the views are incredible. So we're going to check that out in the afternoon, come back for a mandatory briefing, and then a buffet dinner. We've actually had really incredible weather this entire time, and so I think they're going to schedule some bonus activities for tomorrow. So Antarctica Day, let's go. harbor where we saw shipwreck, and then went to Portal Point in the afternoon where you're actually able to touch the snow, so people made snowmen, and then we went sledding and such, which was really cool. We had such great weather this entire itinerary that we completed all the major activities. So today is going to be a fun exploration day, not only for us on the boat, but also the crew. So we're heading to two locations that most people normally don't go to, and it's a little off the beaten path. So we're going to spend the morning in Cape Racumaro, where there actually aren't many photos, if any photos of it online. So that'll be cool to explore by Zodiac. And then in the afternoon, we're going to Astrolabe. I think it's called Astrolabe Island, which actually is pretty cool out here. So there we're gonna do a Zodiac cruise and then hopefully a landing. So Antarctica date should be an interesting one. Let's go. Yesterday was an awesome day. We actually got to go explore two areas, Cape Racumaro, which no one on the crew had ever been to, and then in the afternoon we went to Astrolabe Island, which actually one crew went to, where we had a Zodiac landing. Today for day 10, we headed to Deception Island, which is a caldera of an active volcano. We're going to explore a site that I think there was a whaling factory on, and we are going to do our polar plunge later this morning. In the afternoon we're going to move to Edinburgh Hill for our last Zodiac cruise landing trip. So day 10, let's go. Just like that, Antarctica day 10 is coming to an end. Last full day in Antarctica. Today was incredible. We started off going to Deception Island where we had our polar plunge, and then in the afternoon we were going to go to one stop, but due to wind we ended up going to Half Moon Island, which was incredible. Tonight we'll be making our way back to the Drake Passage, and that puts an end to the Antarctica adventure. But this was like an incredible trip, like truly a once in a lifetime experience. It's nothing like I've ever seen before. And if you ever have the opportunity to do something like this and go to a place like this, take full advantage of it, because it's one of the most remote places on earth, but there's such beauty here, and just seeing how all these animals live, and it's the most beautiful environment that probably can have the harshest weather, but just indescribable. Like, everyone has to experience it for themselves, and video only goes so far. So overall, super grateful for this journey, and hopefully one day I'll visit it again. So yeah, signing off. Thanks again for following along. I booked this trip with Oceanwide Expeditions. This is their Antarctica Basecamp tour. If you ever find yourself wanting to book a trip to Antarctica, I have information in the description below. All I have to say is, book the trip. You won't regret it.